Hey guys, John here from the Sovol SV04 community. It's probably kind of loud, but machines are running. Turn this one off just because. I want to make a video just showing you guys how to install the firmware. It's pretty simple, pretty quick. Maybe touch on a couple things that maybe you might need to do. I'll show you the SD cards I use. Brand doesn't really matter, just make sure they're close to the same size. Also want to say that a lot of people have been here before me. I'm not the first one doing this. So as for the firmware, I didn't start it. Came from Sovol. We built upon that. Brandon did quite a bit before me. Sad to say he decided to get rid of his and went a different route, but I want to keep mine going, so I want to be able to use it the best I can and let you guys be able to use it the best you can. So yeah, we're gonna look at the firmware today and show you how to install it and how to check it, make sure you got it installed correctly and that you have it up and running like you want it to be. Probably the next video is going to be how to set it up after you've installed the new firmware, leveling, making sure things are right, straight, what have you. Try as much as I can to make it workable for you guys. So yeah, let's get started. All right, guys, a couple things you're gonna need. You're gonna want to get yourself your SD card, regular size. I use an 8 gig or around that. You're going to need a micro SD card. This is going to be for the screen. This one is also an 8 gig. Works pretty good. You need one of those so you can put this little bad boy in here to connect to your computer. And if you can't put that into your computer, you're going to need to get your they make one of these for that size of SD card. So let's move to the printer. All right, so here's my SV04 in all its glory, and actually I have one over there. I have one here, and that's a Frankenstein machine. Working on that, basically turning that into a Sovol, but we're going to concentrate on this one. Here's the screen. Here's where your SD card goes. So let's just first turn it on and have a look. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to go look at, oops, it's not touching. I want to go look at my printer info so I can look at the firmware version. You can see I'm running 2.1.3.1B2 and screen version is 1.2.7. Now after you're done updating, both those version numbers should change. In this example, I'm going to be just showing you how to put 1.2.7 back on, but yours will change for sure if you're coming from the factory Sovol firmware or my old firmware version or Brandon's firmware version. So let's look at the SD cards and let's get some files put on them. Look at our cards, and we're gonna go ahead and move files onto them, and we're going to get them ready to do the install. So I've got two cards here. I've got G2. We're going to open that one up. And I have Untitled, which is the regular size card. So we're going to move this to trash. First, you're going to go download your firmware file from GitHub. that you can grab, and I'll show you the link here in a little bit. But what we're going to do is we're going to copy this file and we're going to put it on our regular printer SD card, and we're going to rename this to just firmware.bin. And if you seem like it's not installing or isn't installing, you can also try using just aaa.bin. I seem to use that one the most if I have to kind of finagle it and get it to work. But for now, we're just going to use firmware. So that one's ready to go. We're going to pop over to our G2, which is the micro SD card. So you're going to want to download the touchscreen firmware from GitHub also. And you're going to unzip the file, and you're going to download it, you're going to unzip it, and you're going to move the contents, which will be this dwinset folder, to your micro SD card. You only want the dwinset folder on the micro SD card. There will be files inside of it. These you all need. But this is the main part. We need just dwinset on the micro SD card. Alright, so let's go ahead and eject these, and we're going to go ahead and move back to the printer. Alright, we're back at the printer. We're going to get ready to install this. A couple things you're going to need is this wrench, which will be used to take these screws out, and another wrench, either that, this style, or if you have them like this one to remove the back of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to remove this so I can get the screen off the machine, and then we'll show you the back. Alright, I have the screen taken off of the frame. It's just flipped over here upside down. You can see there's 4 screws and a cable. We need to take that cable off, and we're going to remove these 4 screws. Okay, now we've got the back removed. We've unplugged the cable. I'm going to show you here. Here is the SD card slot for the micro SD for installing the firmware. So I want you to know that it goes in, let's see here if I can show it, that direction into the slot. So I'll try and do this while we're on the camera. It's kind of a need to have smaller fingers situation. And you can get a different type of extender, but the one I bought didn't work for it. So we're just going to go ahead and slide that in until it clicks. Now we need to connect this cable back up here, like so. And I'm just going to turn it over right here. Kind of set it there. Now we're going to power the printer back on. And you're going to watch it. You can see that it's showing that it's downloading files. 1 CFG, 1 code, 3 bin. Now it's doing, I believe, a font file. Now it's doing the ICL files, which are the files for basically all the images. And you can see we have numbers. We have 8 for the ICL files. The rest is good. We have an end. If you do not have these numbers, you did not do it properly, and you may have to reformat your card. And there's various ways of doing it, but just make sure that you have the dwinset folder on there only. on your micro SD card, and you may need to format your card with 4096 segments or clusters when you format. So alright, we're going to go ahead and turn the printer back off. We're going to flip this back over ever so gently. We're going to push in and pop that out. We're going to take this card back out. We're going to set that aside. Now at this point you can go back, unplug this, put this back on if you prefer. I usually wait until I'm completely done installing the firmware. So for now I'm going to leave it off, but we're going to flip this over and we're going to power it back up. And you can see that this has new, if it's from the Sovol firmware, it'll look a lot different. If you're updating from my screen firmware, it will look quite the same, but there'll be some additions. If this is an update, you're going to be able to do this next step. If it's not, and you're installing for the first time, you're going to have to install the printer firmware first. But I'll just show you quick. You go to that settings, and you go to printer info, and just check your version to make sure it matches the screen version that you downloaded. Once that's done, or once you've confirmed that, you just go ahead and shut it back off. Now we're going to take our SD card and we're going to slap it in here, which, man, I wish I gave more room, but whatever. Sometimes you have to just push it in slowly. Other times it works right off the hop, but here we go. Power the printer back on. It's going to take 10, maybe 20 seconds before the progress bar starts moving. And it will beep when it's done. And here it looks like that wasn't going to work. Okay, try number 2. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to watch this for a second, just see if it goes. And it looks like this one does not want to take. So let's power it off. We're going to pop that card back out. We're going to slap it in here. We're going to go have a look over here. Open a new tab. And it has not changed the file name. So we're going to do this. And we're going to eject it again. Pull her out. And over here, put it back in. Give her power on and see if she goes this time. And there she goes. Let's see if she did an update. So you can pull this file or card back out, set it aside. You don't need that. Now that we've gotten it up and running, let's go check and see if our version updated. And it did not. So we need to go back, check this card again, see if it, and it did not take it. That's crazy. So we're going to now rename this back to firmware. I'm kind of glad this is happening like this so you guys get to see what happens. Because it doesn't just happen, you know, that it works for me every time. So we're going to stick this back in again. And just cause, I'm going to go back here, print, and it's going to say no. Okay. We're going to shut her back off. We're going to fire it back up. Give it a second here to turn off. Fire it back up. See if it'll take this time. It's taking a while to go. And it seems like this one is not going to take either. Well, we may have to try a different card and see what happens here. I'm going to give this another shot. And this time I'm going to kind of just push it in slow. Until it just kind of clicks. See if we can get it to go this time. This is probably the most finicky board I've ever had to put firmware on. And it still did not update. Alright, we're going to just pop this out real quick. See if it updated this. Nope, still the same file. Alright, time to try a different card. Let's get this one out of here. Might be time to format that card again. So I'm going to take another one. I'm going to try this one. And we have Mr. No Name over here. We're going to just clear this out. We're going to go grab our bin file that we've downloaded. Paste it into here. Rename it back to firmware.bin. Go ahead and eject it. And let's hope this one works. Alright, let's give her another shot. Oh, this time I think it went. That's about the amount of time it should take. So let's go have a look. And you can see we now have 1B3 instead of 1B2 for our version of our firmware. So we can take that card back out, set it aside. Now you have an operational firmware of mine running on your printer. I know that we had to do that a couple times to get that to work, but I'll show you just a couple things, I guess. You've got the different print modes. You've got single 1 and 2. You've got dual mode, duplicate or copy mode, and mirror mode. You just choose whichever one you're going to be using. Look at that. Oh, it's not touching. There we go. We'll look at the temp section here. See the temps there. Here's nozzle 1 information. You go ahead and set the temp to whatever you want. Or just push PLA and it's going to automatically start heating the nozzle to 200 and the bed to 60. You can go over to 2, hit PLA again, it's going to start heating nozzle 2. You can see that's heating there. Hot bed looks basically the same. Cool down buttons basically just shuts off the temperature. And you can also control the fans right there. Turn them on full rip, or you can set a speed from there. Now we're going to turn that off. Back up to, oh, because it's not in this thing, it's kind of tough to touch that top left button. All right, settings. You have your move, your leveling, your refuel. I don't want to go into leveling because that's kind of a bit, but it takes a second. Use refuel so you can load and unload filament at, once your nozzles are to temperature. You do it independently and you can set how much filament you want to push out. Here's where if you're trying to set your E-steps, you would type 100. Hit OK, and then load filament. You need to disable the motors so you can move things around a little bit. You can click that button. Right now it's already disabled. This is your hot end offset menu. You will want to write down all of these numbers before you do this update. Also, we're going to want to write down your leveling. Advanced settings, we have steps, flow, and PID tuning. Steps, you can do both extruders, your X, your Y, your Z steps. Flow, you can set your flow rate right here. Flow does not save from once you power the machine down, you have to reset flow. You can also set this on the tuning menu while you're printing. PID tuning, you can tune individual nozzles and the bed. That's all that's there for now. We'll just hit leveling. Let's see what it does. Better move this off to the side. Don't want it to get knocked down. You're going to see this section more when I do the video of how to level the bed, adjust the gantry, and set your Z offset. So this is the leveling menu. You can see your Z offset is there. Auto level is where it probes 49 points on the bed using your probe. That's, you can't really see it on there, but it's back there underneath there somewhere, kind of. Anyways, I like 7x7. Gives me quite a bit of spots on the bed to test so that I get a better mesh for the prints to work with. Tramming is how you can manually level your bed to get it as close to flat as possible. Auto tramming is an awesome feature. It probes the 4 points and tells you what to do to make them all match this one. Z-align, that aligns your X gantry. It'll measure from side to side and it will adjust that side until they're even. You got your save button, obviously, and your view mesh, which lets you view your mesh, which mine is currently 0 because we just did an install. Another thing, when I said you need to write down these numbers, that's Z offset. You're going to want to write down your steps in case you change them. You're going to want to write down your hot end offsets. Those are the offsets of this extruder to this extruder to make them line up to look like that. One thing I did forget to mention, when you do this as a fresh install or an update, kind of like a bigger update, you're going to want to initialize the EEPROM, which is going to set all the defaults to the machine from the configuration. And it doesn't take that long to go back in and put these 3 in, your 2 or 5 E-step or steps, and your 1 Z offset, and you're back up and running. Then all you have to do is run an auto Z align, do an auto bed mesh, and boom, you're good to go. So I hope this helps everybody out. Hopefully I'll get the other video made soon so that everybody can kind of see how to set things up. So any questions, you guys will just have to ask me, preferably the GitHub, or maybe you can catch me quick on the in the Facebook group. So I hope this helps. It's a pretty simple process. I know that in mine, and I'm actually glad that it didn't work right away, because I know a lot of people have come to me and asked me what to do, and mine wasn't too terribly bad. I didn't have to format anything, but you guys will get the idea, and hopefully it'll help you get yours installed quicker. Yeah, I appreciate everybody thanking me for keeping it on. It makes me add stuff and fix things and make sure things are working hopefully the way we want them to. Yeah, couple big things. Make sure you have a smaller size SD card, micro and regular SD. I use 8 gigs. Make sure you format them to 4096 clusters, and also after, first I do the order of screen, then printer, so that once I'm done installing and updating the printer with the new firmware, I can just start setting it up right away. Don't forget to initialize the EEPROM under the hot end offsets screen if you're doing a bigger update. Like say you're going from version 2.1.1 to 2.1.3, you're most likely going to have to initialize. I try to put that in every one of the notes on the GitHub release page for that release. And when in doubt, if something doesn't seem like it's working right, make sure you initialize the EEPROM, and if that doesn't work, reinstall the firmware again, then initialize the EEPROM. And it seems like that usually fixes if there's any issues going on where maybe you have a freezing screen when you're going into the tuning menu, or something just doesn't want to go backwards. Usually it comes down to having to reflash the firmware. Sometimes you have to reflash the screen, but yeah, awesome. I hope this helps everybody. I know it helps me. I know I don't have enough time in the day to get everything done for everybody, and I'm learning some of this myself too. So if anybody feels like they have an answer for me to fix something or make it work better, please let me know, and we'll try to get her done. And watch for the video of leveling and setting up one of these SV04s. I know a lot of people have a hard time with it, but hopefully we can get a video made that helps everybody get her done quicker and as best as it can be. Thanks guys, we'll talk to you later.